Vasily Lomachenko, once again, is a champion. Congrats to him and his team. Lomachenko overcomes a controversial loss to Devin Haney. Some people thought he got robbed in the Devin Haney fight. I thought he won 7-5, but I can see it the other way around. I did not see a robbery, but I did have the fight for Lomachenko. Or you could have gave it a draw. Now, where Lomachenko stands in the lightweight division, there are 3 or 4 good fights out there for him. There's Shakur Stevenson, and then you got Benavidez fights next weekend, or this weekend is fight week. This weekend, he fights Baranchyk for the WBO lightweight title. So Shakur Stevenson and Benavidez, if he wins, or Baranchyk, whatever, those are 2 fights that'll be easier to make because they're under the same promotional company. And then there's William Cepeda, and we don't know what the IBF's gonna do because the IBF rules are different. Maybe somebody in the comment section could tell me if the IBF trumps unification over mandatory. And then there's Gervonta Davis, which is the fight I want to see. This is the fight Lomachenko has been chasing for years. In Mayweather Promotions, Gervonta Davis, whoever you want to blame, they've been running from Lomachenko. And maybe Gervonta Davis has grown a pair and says, he finally wants to fight Lomachenko since Lomachenko is 36 years old. And this may be Lomachenko's last run in Undisputed. This is what I like about Lomachenko and Usyk. I don't know if it's a Ukraine thing or not, but yeah, they are prize fighters. They do fight for money. But these guys are fighting for legacy as well. Lomachenko wants to be undisputed champion of the world. And this may be his last chance. Now, the fight I want to see out of those 4 is Gervonta Davis versus Lomachenko. I think that's now or never for Gervonta Davis to get his signature name on his record. When you look at his resume, now I think Pedraza his best win. But the casual public thinks the best win on his resume is Ryan Garcia because he hasn't fought Frank Martin yet. Even though Lomachenko's at the age of 36, I still think Lomachenko still has some kick left. And by far, Lomachenko will be the best fighter that Gervonta Davis faced in his professional career. And I think Lomachenko would be very competitive in this fight. But at this stage, I would give the slight edge to Gervonta Davis, but I would not be upset at all if Lomachenko pulls it out. Like I said at the beginning, I'll be cool with any of these 4 fights that Lomachenko select. But the one I want to see is Gervonta Davis against Lomachenko. According to Rick Glaser, Boxing Insider, Canelo McGee pay-per-view numbers are between 500,000 to 550,000. Glaser believes this is good news because he believes if Canelo want to continue earning the money that he's been earning, he's going to have to fight a Crawford and Benavidez to bring up the numbers. And not just that, he thinks because the numbers were so low, that is another bloodbath for the PBC. Now, let me take that back. I don't mean numbers were low. Those are outstanding numbers for anybody else. But we're talking about the king of boxing in Canelo Alvarez, and he believes that the PBC was looking forward to bigger numbers than what they were getting. If the numbers hold up, this is according to Rick Glaser. Rick Glaser's pretty good at what he does, but nobody's perfect. Now, pay-per-view is not what it used to be. Now it's oversaturated because they put everything on pay-per-view. We had a Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios on pay-per-view. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant on pay-per-view. Those type of fights would have been on HBO back in the day. An HBO broadcast. That's where it would have been. I mean, they had a Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora on pay-per-view. Those wouldn't hold up back in the day, but now they oversaturated the market. They just put everything on there, and people are not willing to pay for those type of fights. Not to mention, this is the Fire Stick era. To me, and it's just my opinion, pay-per-view is for special events and super fights. Fundora and Tim Tszyu, to me, is not a super fight. And I thought McGee and Canelo was a decent fight, but I wasn't overly excited about it. And I mean, it was better than Jamal Charlo, thank God. But I think Ed Berlanga is in the same boat as McGee. I mean, he's Puerto Rican, but it's the same kind of fight. Berlanga will be dominated by Canelo. I think the fights people want to see is Canelo against Benavidez and Terence Crawford. Those two fights will do 1 million pay-per-view buys, in my opinion. And what Rick Glaser is saying, these are Rick Glaser's words, this is what he's saying, is that he doesn't believe Eddie Hearn is going to pay Canelo $35 to $40 million to fight Ed Berlanga. And some boxing insiders believe that Terence Crawford is a more lucrative fight and it's an easier fight for Canelo. And they rather see Canelo fight Crawford than Berlanga, and Berlanga is a 168-pounder. They think Crawford, who's a 147-pounder, will present a better challenge than Ed Berlanga. I know Crawford's moved to 154, but he hasn't yet, so I still consider him a 147-pounder. But anyway, what do you think about Rick Glaser's comments? If Canelo wants to continue to make the money he's making or more money, he's going to have to fight Crawford or Benavidez next. Jay Beasy, I'm gone.